Welcome back, guys, to Kerbal's Space Explosion. Here we are at what I named Retinal Burn Station Mark 9 or something like that. And Lanbus Kerman is currently having his eyeballs burned out by our close proximity to the sun, or Kerbal, however you choose to name it. Kerbal is a unofficial name, but the fan base has kind of made it the unofficial official name. We're back in Kerbal Space Explosion. So, in this .23 save file, we've gone to Minmus a couple of times. We've gotten all the science, more or less. Well, I guess I could have done those flying EVAs, but whatever. We've got a lot of science from the different biomes. We've been to every biome. Found a crack in the universe. And we've got a station here close to the sun. And I was thinking, what can we do to get more science? We could go to Duna, but I've already been to Duna, so maybe not. We could go to Moho. We could go back to Moho. It's like, I've been to Moho. I mean, that could be fun, but I've already done that. And then I thought, well, we could go to Eve and Gilly, but I would kind of like to save that for when I have more parts so that I can do some docking and undocking stuff. So where could we go that we haven't been to get more science? And Lanbus, you better turn around, buddy. I think you're falling into the sun. No, he's actually a stupid distance away from it still, like 2.1 billion meters. So, of the places we could go, where we haven't been, I think let's go to this guy, Dres. So, Dres has a very eccentric orbit. You can see there that the tilt is pretty extreme. It has a very low gravity, 0.115 gravity. I think that's half of Minmus. So extremely small, only 138 kilometers in diameter. For comparison, let's look at Minmus. Where is it? Over here? Oh, okay, never mind. It has more gravity than Minmus. What am I thinking? What am I comparing it to? The moon? 0.1. Okay, so it's about comparative to the moon. It's a little bit smaller than moon, whatever. All right, and to get there, we are going to use this. This guy I like to call the Drestacular because he's spectacular, and we're going to dress. See what I did? I combined two words. Very clever, right? Okay, so this thing is gigantic. That's probably no surprise. All my rockets are kind of gigantic like that. I think this has more parts than anything I've made before, though. Mostly because we have this incredibly, stupidly big lander up on the top here. The lander and the interplanetary stage are the same thing. We found out last time that nuclear engines are efficient, but not very powerful. So I have a lot of them, and we have a very large, spread-out lander-looking thing. And we also found out that having a lot of torque on just one decoupler, if you've got one decoupler between your lander and all of your very powerful rockets at the beginning, can cause a lot of torque, I'm thinking, a lot of strain on that joint. And so I've divided my rocket into three. So there's three central rockets here. Looking in the center here. And everything, the rocket is symmetrical on a 3-point axis, so it's always going to be symmetrical, and it always stays consistent like that. We shouldn't have as much rotation going on. You can see we've got three central guys here, and then we have more rockets coming off of that. For this mission, we've got Hudhat, Buzz, and Dundred. That's right. I went to the recruitment office. Which, let's see, can we even see it? It is, it's right there behind the VAB. And I got Buzz Kerman, who is obviously a reference to Buzz Aldrin. Anyway, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! I don't like to waste a lot of time with my countdowns. So, a few things. One of the things I did is I went into the settings, and there's a slider there for the amount of time the game will spend rendering any frame of animation. And the default setting, or at least the setting mine was on, was at like 0.04 seconds per frame. What that means is that when there's a lot of calculations going on, that's the most amount of time it's going to spend on any one frame. And so if there's a lot of calculations going on, it will skip some things, and that may be the cause of some of my other rockets exploding. Maybe just because I took things too far. Anyway, I increased that to 0.1 seconds per frame. So there's more time that I'm giving the game to make calculations based on the physics, and especially when we have all of these parts, all these rockets firing at once, this early part of the rocket. The game's going to slow down more, but it should be able to keep up and not explode into a million pieces. At least that's what I hope to happen. And then once we get rid of these guys, once we get into orbit, into the vacuum of space, everything should run smoothly at that point. Another thing, so I've talked before about terminal velocity and the thickness of the atmosphere. I actually looked up the actual values on the Kerbal Space Program wiki. That's kerbal.com/wiki/Kerbin. And under the atmosphere section, there is a list of all of the terminal velocities. So at 75 meters, the terminal velocity is 100 meters per second. At 3,000 meters, which we are approaching, the terminal velocity is 134.5 meters per second. And looks like, yeah, we're going to be a little bit below that, so that's good. The main concern I have right now is making sure that these boosters run out of fuel before these tanks they're attached to. And you can see that one is going to run out right before the others. Okay, we're going to drop those. And then we're going to actually throttle up from this point because we're going to lose a little bit of momentum once we drop those tanks. Goodbye. I've started using more Separatrons with these huge orange tanks so that they get out of our way with a little bit more snappiness, a little bit more get up in their step, some pep in their step. All right, so we're approaching 5,000 meters. The terminal velocity is 163, which we are under. So that's good. As long as we stay under that figure, by 8,000 meters, the terminal velocity is 220. I've been trying to stay under 200 up to 10,000 meters. So I was being even more conservative than I need to be. I'd never really looked it up. I had watched a tutorial from Scott Manley about efficient gravity turns and when you should make them and whatnot. But I hadn't actually looked up the figures on my own. Now that I have, we now know what's going on. I also had some problems with fuel lines and some of these early tanks, like becoming empty too early. I'm not sure exactly what happens, but I did get all the kinks worked out. We have a little bit of spinning going on. That's not too big of a deal as long as it doesn't get out of control. And we are, let's see, we're at 9,000 meters. Terminal velocity is 219.9. Whoa, what happened? Something happened. Stop. Something happened. One of our tanks ran out of fuel. Okay, so this can happen. This is like a glitch or something that happens, and if I revert to launch and redo it, a lot of times this doesn't happen. I'm not sure why some of these tanks, like one of these tanks will sometimes empty out before the others, so I'll just redo up to that point. Oh, bye-bye, tank. Okay, here's a critical stage. About to drop 6 tanks. Right about in a few seconds. Let's hope the tanks haven't glitched out. I think we're okay. We've gotten to this point. So originally I wanted to drop these guys after dropping these guys. So the overall cluster of rockets was a little more compact and easier to keep things together with additional reinforcement via struts. But something about the fuel lines just wasn't working. It kept glitching, or one tank kept being empty. Like, I mean, one of the 3, like this one, and these 2 would be full. Not sure what happened, so I just found this workaround to get the staging to work. Let's tip over to about 45. You can see I've got some diagonal struts here, basically turning that center section into a truss, providing some extra rigidity. Let's check our apoapsis. Make sure that it is getting farther away. 35 seconds, 36 seconds. 37, come on, give me a 37. Can I see a 37? 37, thank you. Okay, and we'll just kind of continue to slowly tip over, and by the time we're out of the atmosphere, I want to be at pointing at the horizon and moving towards an orbit. We're about to lose these tanks in just a second here. Okay, guys. See you later, alligator. There we go. Still accelerating. Let's check this. 42. All right, 43. Still getting farther away. Lovely. Hud Hat is freaked out. Buzz is really freaked out, and Dundred is really freaked out. They're all freaked out. That's, that's strange. Usually one of them is cackling their head off, and I have a variety of skill sets, like Hud Hat and Buzz. I think they're both low stupidity, high courage. Uh-oh. What's happening? That's not good. You see what's happening here? You see this? That tank has broken its moorings. I may have to do this part over again as well. I'm having trouble steering this as well. Yeah, we lost the tank. Yeah, I'll have to do this part again too. I'll see you in a second. Now, where were we? Oh, that's right. We were burning towards getting into orbit. Our orbital velocity is currently about... Oh, we just passed 1776. Very historic year. Okay, so we've got another 40 seconds of this burn. Hud Hat, Buzz, and Dundred seem fairly content. They don't seem too scared. I noticed something when I was redoing this launch, and I had another collision that I didn't include, or explosion, which I'm not going to include on the footage. Oh gosh. Starting to go a little crazy. Don't blow up now, please. Please don't blow up now. Something I noticed was that all of the... what do you call them? The Separatrons. I'm trying to do multiple things at once here and failing. There, that's probably good enough. We're in orbit. 76. Oh, periaps is 56. That's no good. Okay, let's wait till we get up here. Up here, and then we'll burn for a little bit longer, and we'll just do that manually because it's not much left. We still have some of these tanks left. We are above 70,000. So we can fast forward without being eaten by the Kraken. The Separatrons, I had a lot of Separatrons, and I noticed that they would be firing simultaneously with the decouplers, and they would make the whole thing shake a little bit because I think their force on the ship, you know, they were starting to apply force before the Separatron had fully separated. And they were causing all kinds of instability. So I got rid of most of them. I got rid of almost all of them. And just kept a couple at each stage that I thought I would need. Oh, okay, I was like, why cannot I rotate my ship? And it's because we were still in fast forward mode. Okay, let's get down here. Very hard to maneuver. I don't want to use any of my RCS just yet. We are 20 seconds from the apoapsis. Zooming out so we can see the bottom. Yeah, very hard to maneuver. Actually, let's just do that. Whoops. And then I can maneuver while it's doing that. And then Kerbal. Okay, we went a little bit farther than I wanted to. But that's fine. We're in a stable orbit above the atmosphere. We have some of these engines left. And then we're going to have this massive lander, which is also the interplanetary stage. Why are you rotating? Stop rotating. Let's actually turn SES off while I don't need it. We got a lot of landing legs, a lot of extra fuel tanks that we can jettison. These outer guys are going to be used up in the intercontinental burn. We got some RCS fuel right there. We have some reaction wheels here. And then we have underneath those batteries. And on the alternates, we've got Science Juniors and Mystery Goo. Oh, we have lights. Look at that. We also have some solar panels. The usual lot. Okay. So, now that we've done that, let's back up here. And let's find our target. Where are you, Dres? Dres? Address? There he is right there. Okay. So, what we need to do is we need to fire prograde along the axis of our orbit, which is going that way. The Kerbin's orbit, I should say. So I want to line it up like this. And then we want to start burning kind of like right about there, something like that. And that should shoot us out. We should end up with a... Come on. We should escape Kerbin. There we go. And we're going to have to fiddle with this just a bit because Dres has a very wonky orbit. What's our ascending descending node? 5 degrees. That's kind of a lot. Let's see if I can find a maneuver that will allow us to get out there. Alright, so here is the situation. This is the best maneuver I could come up with. We are at a separation of 1.6 million kilometers. That's a lot. That is nowhere near... Well, I mean, we're close to an encounter, but we're still very far. We're close and we're far at the same time. You can see, look at how wonky this orbit is. And if I wanted to spend a stupid amount of fuel, what I'd do is I would just fix my ascending node so that it's basically 0, and then I would wait for the best point to make another maneuver, but that would take more fuel, and we will still have that option available to us anyway if this doesn't work. So what we're going to do, we're going to fast forward and we're going to do this maneuver, 2-minute burn. And then we'll see what happens, basically. We're going to fly by the seat of our pants just a little bit. Just a little bit. And don't forget, we're about to lose these orange tanks, which means our ship is going to lose quite a bit of thrust to weight ratio. And that means that the whole thing is going to change anyway. The calculation, the amount of time this burn is going to take will change. So everything's going to go haywire, in other words. See, even though we're 2 minutes out, I'm going to go ahead and start burning. Provided this isn't pointing us right at the planet. I burned a little bit by accident setting up that orbit. My finger hit the shift key and we got up to a little bit higher of an apoapsis here, but it's not a huge deal. Yeah, okay, so once we lose these tanks, we're gonna use them, then we're gonna lose them. Our thrust to weight ratio is gonna drop significantly because we're gonna be reduced to just the nuclear engines, which, while extremely efficient, are weak as butter. But they're sweet like butter. They're rich like butter. I don't know. Sometimes I take metaphors too far. So what I think we'll do, we'll try to get this as close as possible, and we'll try to do some kind of... I'll experiment with some adjustment maneuvers somewhere around here. Probably the farther away from it is better. The farther away as possible we can get is probably better because the little adjustments you make here will make big differences there. But, well, we'll just see what happens. We'll see what's possible. Yeah, let's turn some lights on so we can see. How about that? There we go. Okay, here comes the transition. Don't explode, ship. Please don't explode. Here we go. Come on, run out. There. Spoof. Goodbye, tanks. Tanks a lot, tanks. Alright, so this is our ship. And it should be quite a bit more efficient. But you see, look at this. Our estimated burn jumped all the way back up to 2 minutes 40. These guys also tend to overheat, so I'm going to throttle down just a little bit, and that'll keep them from overheating, just that little bit of throttling down. They also, unlike the lander engines we've used previously, they provide a little bit of electrical charge, so we don't even have to worry about our massive amount of 3,151 electrical charge. That's us leaving orbit. That camera's spinning, so we just escaped. If I zoom in, yeah, we just escaped. Here's our escape. And then our overall... Well, we won't... I guess we won't see what our overall... No, it's right here. This is us right here. This orange line. And we're heading for that. And, yeah, it would have changed anyway because of the fact that we lost those tanks. So, we may have not been able to get that encounter anyway. And we will... Well, I guess we'll just see what happens. We will see what happens. This is my first time going out here to Dres. I've been to Moho, which has a similar wonky orbit. I don't know if that's easier or harder to get to, because I've only gone to the one. I don't have a vast amount of experience. And we've been burning for a while. Let's check our tanks. I mean, you can see it down here. They're still doing good. We've yet to use one of these tanks, and this tank right here, 3 of them, are fueling all of these engines. So, quite efficient. Specific impulse of 800. Very nice. Let's monitor this a little bit. It's getting there. It's getting there. If we look way over here, you can see that we're just going to crisscross, and I need to diminish the amount of crisscross as much as possible. Or just get it close enough so we can get into an encounter and then burn retrograde once we're in the encounter. That should be simple. The only problem is that Dres is so small, has such a small sphere of influence that it's hard to get caught by it. That will be the trickiest part. Now that we've managed to get this massive lander into space, the next tricky part will be getting an encounter. After that, everything should be smooth sailing as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, who knows? Who knows what shenanigans await us in the dark? Okay. There's the moon. Kind of looks like a Death Star from here. I can just see, probably not on your screen, I can see this giant crater here, and it looks like where the laser comes out of the Death Star. And we're getting close to being done here. Let's spin around this way. It is getting there. It's probably going to look slightly different than our estimate did. We have an extra 36 seconds. We're already 2 minutes past our node. And we started, what, 2 minutes before? So I guess we're not that far off schedule, only about 30 seconds. So not so bad. 130 meters per second left to burn. And we still haven't even used one of these tanks, which is good. Let's see, that's empty now, but the one beneath it, not even half empty. So very nice. We should be able to fly around in this thing for a long time. If we can't manage to get this to line up right, we have quite a bit of room for error. That's how I like to do things. I like to over-engineer so that my lack of skill can be accounted for. All right, here we come. Almost done. 30, 28, 24. Follow the blue dot. I think that's about it right there. And it lines up pretty well with our maneuver. Let's get rid of the maneuver. Okay, we can't even select the maneuver because it's overlapping with so many things. No, I don't want to set Kerbal as my target. I would like to get rid of this maneuver. Hello, maneuver. Goodbye, maneuver. All right, so let's go ahead and escape from Kerbal, or you know, get beyond this little spot so that we can get into proper orbit around. Let's turn. I guess we'll leave those on for now. Get into orbit around Kerbal, the star. Say sayonara, sucker, to our home planet, which we hope not to return to for some time, but we hope to eventually, ultimately return to, with a lot of soil samples and EVA reports and whatnot to unlock more of our tech tree. There it goes, shooting away. Let's see, where's Minmus? Or where's the moon? There's the moon. Now where's Minmus? I always like to watch them as they spin around. There it is. Is that it? See that right there? Was that Minmus? I think that's Minmus. That little dot, a little pixel. And then looking on this screen, have we escaped yet? Can't see anything. Yes, we have. Okay. Back down to 1 times speed. There we go. We are on our way. We have an intercept with Dres. And unfortunately, an ascending-descending angle of 4.3, which is not very good. Not optimal at all. We will try to land on Dres, but we're going to do that next time. We will continue this Dres saga. Is it Dres or Dres? I'm going to say Dres. You're not. Are you getting dressed or are you getting draced? I don't know. Let me know in the comments how you prefer to pronounce this ball of ice and stone upon which we shall collide. See you next time, guys. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.